You're about to experience a compressed time frame where more happens in one day than usually happens in a month. And the shock of it isn't that individual things are so dramatic, it's that they're all happening at once. Within a single rotation of the Earth, your reality is going to shift. Not gradually, not over time, not with warning signs that let you prepare, just a sudden convergence of events that reorganize your life while you're still processing what's happening. Let me describe what this feels like. You may have been in a routine, a predictable pattern, days that look basically the same. And there's comfort in that, even if it's not exactly what you want. Some people experience predictability as safety. They know what to expect, they can plan, they can control variables, they can manage outcomes. It might feel like you've been coasting, not in a bad way, just in a steady way, moving through life at a pace you can maintain, nothing too surprising, nothing too disruptive. But here's what's building. A day is coming where that predictability shatters, where multiple unexpected things converge in a 2-4 hour window and you're forced to adapt in real time. Let's pause here. This reflection invites you to consider, how do you typically respond when multiple unexpected things happen at once? Maybe you panic, go into crisis mode, feel overwhelmed by the sheer volume of stimuli requiring your attention simultaneously. You may have a pattern of handling things well when they come one at a time, but falling apart when they pile up, when you're forced to make multiple significant decisions with no space between them. It's possible this compressed experience is going to challenge that pattern. You're not going to have the luxury of processing one thing before the next arrives. You're going to have to stay present and adaptable while everything's moving. Some people discover capabilities they didn't know they had during intense, compressed periods. They find out they can handle more than they thought, can think clearly under pressure, can make good decisions quickly when necessary. You may be about to discover that about yourself, that you're more resilient and adaptable than you've given yourself credit for. It can feel terrifying to imagine a day where you don't have control, where you're just responding to things as they happen instead of orchestrating your experience. But sometimes the best days are the ones we didn't plan, the ones that unfold according to their own logic instead of ours. This reflection invites you to consider, can you surrender to unexpected flow, or do you need to control everything? There's something specific about what might happen in this 2-4 hour period. It's possible it's a convergence of communication, multiple people reaching out, multiple conversations happening, multiple truths being spoken, multiple connections being made or broken. You may receive news from different sources, messages that change context, information that shifts how you see situations, clarity arriving all at once after months of confusion. Some people experience communication convergence as overwhelming. Their phone won't stop. Everyone needs their attention. Every conversation is significant. There's no break between intensity and more intensity. Or maybe it's opportunity convergence, multiple doors opening simultaneously, multiple offers arriving, multiple choices presenting themselves in a compressed time frame. It can feel impossible to evaluate multiple opportunities when they all arrive at once, like you need more time, more space, more clarity before making decisions that matter. But sometimes life doesn't give you that luxury. Sometimes you have to choose quickly. Trust your gut, move on instinct instead of analysis. This reflection invites you to consider, do you trust your instincts enough to make quick decisions? Let me talk about why this compression is actually valuable. It's possible you've been overthinking things, analyzing endlessly, waiting for perfect clarity before committing to anything. And that overthinking has kept you stuck. You may have been in analysis paralysis, unable to move forward because you keep finding new variables to consider, new angles to examine, new reasons to delay. Some people need external pressure to break through their own resistance. They need circumstances to force their hand, to make inaction impossible, to create urgency that overrides their tendency to overthink. You may be one of those people, and this compressed 24 hours might be exactly the push you need to finally make moves you've been delaying. It can feel like you're being rushed, like you should have more time, like important decisions deserve more consideration. But you've already been considering for months, maybe. And more time hasn't created more clarity. It's just created more procrastination disguised as thoughtfulness. What you might discover is that quick decisions based on gut feeling can be just as sound as slow decisions based on endless analysis. That intuition is faster than logic and often just as accurate. Some people look back on compressed, intense periods as the times they grew most, when they were forced out of their comfort zone, when they had to adapt or be left behind. When they discovered they were capable of more than they believed. You may look back on this 24 hours the same way as the day that changed your trajectory, not because any single thing was so massive, but because the convergence created momentum you couldn't have generated on your own. It can feel chaotic while it's happening, like you're being swept along by forces you can't control, like you're just trying to keep your head above water. But chaos and transformation often look the same in the moment. You can't always tell the difference until after. When you see what the chaos actually built, this reflection invites you to consider, what if chaos is just transformation you haven't recognized yet? There's something about your response that will determine what this becomes. It's possible if you resist the compression, you'll make it harder on yourself. If you try to slow things down or control the pace or make the unexpected fit your preferred timeline, you'll just create friction. You may be tempted to do that, to pump the brakes, to ask for extensions, to try to manage the speed at which things are happening. Some people can't let go of control even when holding on is making things worse. They'd rather struggle against the current than surrender to flow. You may need to practice radical acceptance during this period, accepting that things are happening fast, that you can't slow them down, that your job is to stay present and make the best choices you can with the information you have in each moment. It can feel passive to accept instead of control, like you're giving up, like you're not fighting hard enough. But acceptance isn't passivity. It's just not wasting energy fighting what is. It's directing your energy toward responding well instead of resisting reality. What you might need is to stay grounded while everything's swirling, to find your center even when circumstances are chaotic, to maintain clarity even when inputs are overwhelming. Some people lose themselves during intense periods. They get swept up. They make decisions based on adrenaline instead of alignment. They let the intensity override their judgment. You may need to watch for that, to check in with yourself repeatedly, to make sure you're choosing and not just reacting. It can feel impossible to stay centered when everything's moving fast, but that's exactly when centeredness matters most. You remain in complete control of how you navigate whatever unfolds. You can panic or stay calm, resist or flow, make it harder or make it easier. The power is yours. It always has been. You may notice reading this has brought up anxiety about what might happen, maybe excitement, maybe the wish that time would just speed up so you can get through it. Whatever it is, Honor it. Take what resonates. Softly release the rest. Trust yourself. Before we close, I want to ask you something. When multiple unexpected things happen at once, do you typically rise to the occasion or fall apart? Drop it in the comments honestly. And this, what would help you stay grounded during intensity? The most unexpected 24 hours of your life, where more happens than you thought could happen in a single day, where you're forced to adapt faster than you're comfortable with, where you discover capabilities you didn't know you had. It's coming in this period when you're not expecting it, which is exactly what makes it unexpected. Not eventually, soon. Trust yourself with this. Trust that you can handle compressed intensity. Trust that quick doesn't mean wrong. Trust that sometimes the best way forward is through chaos, not around it. I'll see you in the next one. And listen, unexpected doesn't mean bad.